The Capitol hearing room buzzed with anticipation. Cameras flashed as Pam Bondi took her seat, calm and collected. Across the aisle, Congresswoman Maxine Waters glared sharply, already preparing to strike. It wasn't just another hearing, Nate. It was a political battlefield. The country watched, waiting for sparks to fly. Then Maxine leaned forward into the mic, smirking. "Some people here are completely out of touch with reality," she said, eyes fixed on Bondi. Gasps echoed. "Pam didn't flinch," Maxine continued. "They speak for a party that's lost its moral compass and think a law degree gives them wisdom." The crowd murmured, some nodding, some shaking their heads. Pam's fingers tapped the desk rhythmically. But she knew how this game was played and how to win. When the chair yielded the floor to her, she adjusted the mic with precision. "Madam Waters," she began, voice cool as steel. "Are you finished with your monologue?" A pause. Then laughter subtle, restrained. Pam pressed on. "I may be out of touch with your version of reality, but I'm deeply in touch with the Constitution." Maxine scowled. "I'm not here for political theater," Pam said. "I'm here to defend principles that don't change with polls." Maxine tried to interject, but Pam held up a finger. "Respectfully, I waited my turn. Now it's yours to listen." Silence returned. All eyes were now locked on Bondi. Pam shifted forward. "Let's talk facts, not feelings. You call me out of touch? Spent years in the trenches prosecuting predators, standing up for victims. You sit in a chair and issue sound bites." Gasps again. Maxine leaned back, arms folded. "Your party loves slogans," Pam added, "but when it comes to action, you vanish." The room tightened. Even some members of Maxine's side looked uneasy. Pam wasn't pulling punches, she was delivering knockouts. Pam continued, "You? Parade as a voice for the people. But where were you when small businesses begged for help? When our streets burned?" Maxine's lips parted, but no words came. "You tweeted. I acted." Pam's voice climbed slightly, controlled, but fierce. "This isn't about race or gender or party. It's about leadership. Sometimes that means saying what's unpopular but necessary." The chair tried to move things along. Pam ignored it. "I've been called names before," Pam said. "Sellout, fake, out of touch. I wear them like armor now." Maxine's brow furrowed. While you shout from podiums, I've been doing the work. Ask the victims I stood beside in court. Ask the cops you undermined. Ask the parents of overdose teens who found no answers in hashtags. The tension was unbearable. Journalists typed furiously. Maxine blinked, searching for footing. None was there. Pam wasn't finished. "This hearing isn't about showboating. It's about accountability. And if being out of touch means not worshiping at the altar of politics, then I'll proudly carry the label." Applause broke out, rare and spontaneous. Maxine raised her hand to object, but the damage was done. Bondi had seized the narrative. "We've become addicted to outrage," she added. "But I didn't come here to scream. I came to serve." Maxine leaned into her mic. "That's rich, coming from someone who... but she faltered. Retort lacked sting. Pam calmly looked at her. "Finish your thought," she said. "Let's have this out in the open." Maxine hesitated, then pivoted. "You've defended controversial people," she said. Pam didn't blink. "And I'll do it again if justice requires it." Justice isn't about popularity. The crowd froze. The battle was now personal and philosophical. "I don't need you to like me," Pam said. "I need the truth to stand." She pulled out papers. "Here's the crime data from your district. Here are the ignored reports, the failing schools, the lack of infrastructure. And here's your voting record." "That's the disconnect to me," murmurs grew. Maxine reached for a rebuttal, but even the chairman looked uncomfortable now. Pam's voice was cold clarity in a fog of noise. Pam's rhythm built. "Cannot heal a nation with hollow speeches and staged outrage. We need courage, conviction, and consistency." She looked directly at Maxine. "Your legacy should be more than tweets and headlines, because the people you claim to represent, they're watching. They're hurting." The words landed heavy. Maxine clenched her jaw. "I care deeply," she insisted. "Then show it," Pam shot back. "Not with cameras, but with commitment." The room fell into a reflective hush. even partisan. Staffers paused. Pam inhaled deeply. You call me out of touch? But I've seen mothers bury sons because politicians chose rhetoric over reform. I've seen courts ignore victims because it wasn't politically convenient. I've seen prosecutors scared to act. It's what I'm in touch with. Reality? No theatrics, just truth. Delivered like a dagger wrapped in velvet. Maxine tried to pivot again. You stand with those who... I stand with justice, Pam interrupted. Not tribes, not teams, just truth. The room swelled with energy. And I don't care if that makes me unpopular in Washington. I don't work for this town. I work for the people. The crowd nodded, even some of Maxine's aides now visibly shaken. Pam had turned the hearing into her courtroom. Her words were the evidence, her tone, the verdict. Maxine cleared her throat. This hearing is not about personal attacks. Pam nodded, and stopped making them. The bluntness hit hard. Maxine stammered. You're deflecting from the issue. Pam leaned back, arms crossed. No, I'm exposing it. You came after me with assumptions, and I brought receipts. Don't confuse silence with weakness. I let you speak. Now I've spoken. Let the people decide who's truly out of touch. Maxine leaned back, clearly shaken. Her eyes darted across the room, searching for an ally, a lifeline. Pam didn't relent. It's easy to throw labels, harder to live with results. Look at your district's statistics: poverty up, crime up, trust down. That's leadership. The people deserve better. A murmur of agreement echoed. I came here to talk solutions. You came here with insults. So who's really wasting the people's time? Maxine's lips tightened. You're disrespecting this chamber, she barked. Pam raised a brow. No, ma'am. I'm respecting the people watching. They deserve leaders who argue with facts, not feelings. The chair attempted to call order, but the tension had taken over. I've taken hits before, Pam said. But I won't sit quietly while you smear my service. I didn't work for fame. I worked for justice, and I won't apologize for it. Maxine shook her head, clearly rattled. This is beneath the decorum of Congress, she muttered. Pam leaned in, then stopped dragging it down with shallow attacks. The room grew hushed again. If you want to debate, let's do it. If you want to accuse, bring proof. If not, sit down and listen, because I've had enough of the blame game. So let's get to work or get out of the way. The silence was now loaded with tension and truth. Maxine fumbled with her papers. You're deflecting from your party's failures, she said. Pam nodded. There have been failures. I own them. Do you? Question hung there. I answered. The difference is, I don't pretend everything's perfect. I fight to fix it. If you point fingers, I roll up my sleeves. A camera zoomed in on Maxine's clenched fists. Bondi, on the other hand, looked calm, like she'd just landed a closing argument. Pam continued. This chamber used to mean something. Now it's become a stage. Every hearing is a performance. But I didn't come here to perform. I came to remind the American people they still have a voice if we listen. Even the chair sat back, stunned by the force of her conviction. You don't have to like me, she said again. You don't even have to agree. But you will not dismiss me with cheap insults and expect silence. Maxine's voice was quieter now. You have no right to question my dedication. Pam softened just slightly. Then prove it. Let's visit your district together. Let's talk to the people without cameras, no staff, no scripts. Maxine looked thrown. Or is it easier to talk about the people than to them? Another gasp. I'm not afraid of the truth, Pam added. Because the truth is on my side. I live with it. I fight for it. Reporters were already whispering, typing. Headlines were writing themselves. Pam's delivery had turned the moment into something historic. This isn't red versus blue, she continued. It's results versus rhetoric. And if you think grandstanding helps the people you claim to serve, you're not just out of touch, you're out of time. Maxine looked down, her silence now louder than her words. Pam stood, firm, unmoving. People are tired of being pandered to, Pam said. They want jobs, safety, and dignity. Not lectures, not labels, just action. She paused, then looked directly into the camera. If you're watching this, remember, we work for you. Not for likes, not for sound bites. For you. It's a message. It millions instantly. Comment threads flooded. Tweets exploded. Pam Bondi had just turned a live congressional hearing into a national reckoning. Maxine finally looked up. "Maybe I underestimated you," she admitted quietly. Pam gave a slow nod. "You're not the first." The chair moved to close the session, but murmurs still swelled. "Next time you want to call me out," Pam added, "bring more than a tagline." Maxine nodded, swallowing pride with difficulty. She knew this wouldn't be the last time their paths crossed, but next time, she'd think twice before provoking Bondi again. Asterisk, as the hearing adjourned, staffers buzzed like bees. Pam gathered her notes methodically. Maxine sat frozen, her image shaken. Journalists approached Pam, shouting questions. She waved them off politely. "The people heard enough," she said. "They don't need spin. They need leaders who mean what they say." It wasn't just a moment, it was a message, one that would echo through headlines, newsrooms, and households across the nation. In the hallway, reporters crowded Pam. "Did you plan that response?" Todd asked. "No," she said. "But I've spent my life preparing for moments like this." Another voice asked, "Do you think you embarrassed her?" Pam paused. "I think I held a mirror up." What she saw, that's on her. Social media was already ablaze. Clips from the hearing surged. Hashtags like #PamStrikesBack and #TruthHurts trended within minutes. Later that night, news panels debated it. Conservative anchors praised Pam's strength. Liberal ones tried damage control. But even critics admitted she'd won the moment. Maxine's allies stayed mostly silent. No rebuttals, no defenses. It's just the echo of Pam's words playing on loop. Bondi's performance wasn't just politic light, it was surgical, controlled, strategic, and devastating. She hadn't just responded, she had redefined the narrative. Pam sat in her hotel room, scrolling through reactions. Some hateful, many admiring, but all watching. She took a sip of water, leaned back, and allowed herself a rare smile. "Touch," she muttered. "If only they knew how in touch I really am." Her phone buzzed texts from former colleagues, supporters, even rivals. The moment had hit harder than anyone expected, not because it was loud, but because it was undeniable. Maxine's office released a statement the next day measured, defensive. Didn't land. Bondi didn't respond. She didn't need to. The hearing replayed on every major network, her words dissected by analysts, replayed in classrooms, quoted on talk shows. It was more than a clapback, it was a course correction. The people had watched, and they remembered who stood still and who stood strong. In politics, few moments last. But this one did. Pam Bondi walked into a room where she was labeled out of touch and walked out having touched a nerve across the country. Her words didn't just silence a critic, they reminded a divided nation what leadership sounds like. And for Maxine Waters, those seconds of arrogance would echo for a lifetime. Because Pam didn't just make her regret, she made the whole country remember it.